to simplify the algebraic expression. And if you remember from previous math courses, there's a property called the distributive property that you've probably heard of, where you take the 2 and you multiply it by everything inside here, and then over here you do the same thing with the 3. You're going to multiply it by everything inside here. Okay, so let's do that. 2 times x is 2x plus 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, then with the 3, notice the 3 is beside the parentheses over here, but it's minus, or it's negative 3. So what you're really doing is you're taking negative 3 times everything inside here. So negative 3 times x is minus 3x, and negative 3 times negative 2, negative times negative is positive, so you get a plus. 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, then it's just a matter of combining like terms to simplify. So we want to simplify this as much as possible. So 2x and negative 3x, those are like terms that we can combine. 2x minus 3x. Take 2 minus 3. Okay, if you're not sure of your sign number skills, go ahead and just put it in the calculator. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Okay, and those are x's, so it's negative 1x. And then a plus 2 and a plus 6 makes plus 8. So negative 1x plus 8. We don't have to put the 1 there. Okay, you just call it negative x plus 8. So negative 1x is just negative x. Number 2. Now here, we just need to combine like terms. We don't even have to go through the distributive property. You got 4x plus 6x minus 5x. Okay? I want to combine all of those like terms right there. So once again, if you want to just put it in your calculator, you got, for your x's, you have 4 plus 6 minus 5. And that's going to give you 5. And those are x's, so we have to call it 5x. Okay. And you've got minus 3, minus 2. So put that in your calculator. Negative 3 minus 2 is minus 5. Okay. Number 3. Negative 4 times 2x, negative 4 times negative 3. Negative 4 times 2x is negative 8x. Negative 4 times negative 3 is a positive 12. Again, if you're not sure about the sign number rules, use your calculator. Okay? I'm not one for memorizing rules for sign numbers, because you can use your calculator on the tax test. So let the calculator do the work for you. Okay, we'll come over here. Plus 2 times 3x, that's a plus 6x. I'm going to take this plus 2, multiply it by everything in there. Positive 2 times negative 1 is minus 2. Okay. Now, right here, you need to think of this minus sign. You can think of it as a negative 1. So you got negative 1 times x is just minus 1x. And then you got negative 1 times negative 4. And that's a plus 4. And then I want to combine all of these. Negative 8x plus 6x minus 1x is negative 3x. Plus 12 minus 2 plus 4 is a plus 14. Number 4, same type of problem. 6x plus 2 minus 8x minus 4. 6x minus 8x is negative 2x. 2 minus 4 is minus 2. Number 5. Okay, remember this is like, just like up here, we said that's like a negative 1. This is like a negative 1. Okay. Negative 1 times x is negative 1x. Negative 1 times negative 1 is plus 1. Negative 4 times x is minus 4x. And negative 4 times negative 1 is plus 4. Negative 1x minus 4x, negative 5x, and a positive 1 plus 4 is a plus 5. Okay. Okay, which graph best represents the equation of the line that contains points P and Q? We're given point P is 1, 2, point Q is 3, 2. So all you've got to do here is graph those 2 points. And I'm going to do it right here. P is 1, 2. So go over 1, up 2. And Q is 3, 2. So you go over 3, up 2. And there it is. Okay. And answer A was actually the right answer for that one, because that's the line that we're looking for right there. Okay. Raise this just a little bit. Okay, number 2. Which graph best represents x plus y equals 2? Now, I want to go ahead and show you how to put this in slope-intercept form, because you always want to put these in slope-intercept form if you can. This one's not too hard to do. Remember what slope-intercept form is. Okay? Y equals mx plus b. You just need to memorize that formula. Okay. This one is almost in that form, but not quite, because we need y by itself. So the way we can do that is subtract x from both sides. Remember, when you're solving an equation, as long as you do to one side, you do the same thing to the other side. You can do whatever you want as long as you do it to both sides. So by subtracting x there from that left side, right here, by subtracting x right there, the left side of my equation, everything to the left of the equal sign, it becomes just y over there. Because I get rid of that x, and it gives me just y, which is what y equals mx plus b says. The y is by itself on the left side. So those cancel out. I have y equals, and then we want to look at the right side and see what we've got over there now. Well, we've got, I want to to write it in this order. I want to put the x's first. So I'm going to put negative x, because the sign on the x is negative. And then 2 is positive, so I say plus 2. Okay, so now we've got our equation in slope-intercept form right here. And this is the same line that we started with. It's just we changed the form of it. Okay, now remember what slope is. The m is the slope. So this tells me I have a slope of -1. Now think about which one of those lines has a slope of -1. Okay? First of all, a negative slope is a slope that's going down. And it looks like this one is going to be right. Now this one you could say is going down, but a slope of -1 means that it's going down 1 over 1. Down 1 over 1. And that's exactly what that line shows you. Okay. And also, the positive 2, the b, that's the y-intercept. And you can see this one does have a y-intercept at positive 2 right there. Okay. A bucket containing 5 ounces of water is placed under a dripping faucet. Assume the faucet drips at a continuous rate of 1 ounce per minute. The amount of water, y, in the bucket after x minutes is described by the equation y equals 5 plus x. Okay, notice what the y is here. It's the amount of water in the bucket. Okay? Look at your equation. Here's your y. The amount of water in the bucket is equal to 5 plus x, where x is the number of minutes that have gone by. Notice the 5, okay? Even when x is 0, y is going to be equal to 5. And that's because it starts out with 5. That's what it tells you right here. When we first start, we already have 5 ounces in there. So that's what the 5, that's where it comes from. And then you're going to add to that, every minute you're going to add 1. Okay? There's a 1 in front of that x. 5 plus 1x. Okay. Now look at these graphs. Which one starts out at 5? This one starts at 5, and this one starts at 5. In other words, when x is 0, right here, go up to your graph, y is equal to 5. So one of those two is the right answer. Now, we also, remember our formula, y equals mx plus b. What's in front of the x? Well, we've got a 1. So we have a slope of 1 and a y-intercept of 5. Okay. Now look at this slope. No, this one. It's going up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. Okay, that has a slope of 1 over 2, or 1/2. So that's not what we want. We want a slope of 1. Goes up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1. Okay, slope is 1 over 1, which is 1. And that's what we want. Okay? In other words, every minute on the x-axis, remember x is the number of minutes, every minute we're adding 1 ounce to the bucket. Every minute we go up 1. Every minute we go up 1. Okay? So the answer was A on that one. Okay, now they're just giving us, they're giving us the slope right here, 2/3, and the y-intercept is -3. Okay, which one has a slope of 2/3? Well, it's positive 2/3, so we know it can't be that because that's a negative slope. That's a negative slope. Okay. Both of these have positive slopes. What are the slopes? Let's see. This one goes up to over 3. That one has a slope of 2/3. What about this one? Goes up to over 3. So both of those have a slope of 2/3. What about the y-intercept? Well, this one has a y-intercept of positive 2. So that's not right. This one has a y-intercept of -3. Okay, given the point slope form of an equation, and you don't actually need to use that formula here, they're giving you a point and they're giving you a slope. So let's go find that point first of all. 2, 2, no. That one has 0.22. That one doesn't. That's not on the line, so that one's wrong. 2, 2. That one's on the line. And that one is just off the line, so that's not right. So it's either A or C. We're also given that it has a slope of 1. Well, this slope, if you do rise over run for this line, pick 2 points. Between those 2 points, vertical lines are special types of lines, because when you go to find the slope of a vertical line, you're going to do the rise over the run. Between these 2 points, you have a rise of 2. So what's your run? How much does it run between here and here? How much does it go left to the right? Well, it doesn't move to the right. So the run is 0. So when you put that fraction in your calculator and you do 2 divided by 0, you're going to get an error message. So, if you have your calculator, just try that. Put 2 divided by 0 in your calculator, and you're going to get an error message. We call this undefined. I'll rewrite that. An undefined slope. It's actually, since it goes straight up, This line goes straight up. It's actually an infinite slope. Okay, we call it undefined slope. You can't put it in numbers. You can't call it a number because it's an infinite slope. This one, you go from here to here, you're going to go up 2, over 2. So the slope is 2 over 2. And that equals 1. So the answer is C. Okay, y equals 1/2 x plus 1. Slope is 1/2. Y-intercept is 1. So the easiest thing to do is pick out your lines that have a y-intercept of 1. Okay. Looks like that one does. That one does. See, that's the y-intercept. Y-intercept. This one has a y-intercept of -1. Okay. This one has a y-intercept. Well, this line never crosses the y-axis. So it doesn't have a y-intercept. So we can mark that one out. Now, between these two, we need to find one that has a slope of 1/2. If you look at this one, it goes up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Okay? So that is the answer. This line right here, I'm going to pick 2 points. Look at the rise over the run on this one. The rise over the run. How much does it rise between here and here? Well, it's 0. And it runs 2. 0 over 2 is just 0. So a horizontal line, like on answer B, has a slope of 0. Now remember the vertical line that we talked about before, it has an undefined slope. Those are 2 special types of lines, vertical and horizontal. Okay. Now, you can read this question. I'm not going to read it, but what I want to point out is when you see a question like this, and they give you this in the question, usually you can plug that into your calculator. Anytime you see a y equals something, plug that into your calculator. 5 plus 2x, so go plug that in and graph it and see which graph it looks like. Okay, that's one way to do a question like this. It's going to have a positive slope. Okay. Slope is +2. That's going to be an upward slope. And the y-intercept is going to be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can see that this has a y-intercept of 5 and it has a positive slope. Slope is 2. It goes up 2 over 1. Okay? That's the answer. on a question like this, what I would recommend doing is plugging these answers in, and C is going to be like your Y. Okay? The other variable, in this case W, is going to be like your X. So go to your Y equals button and plug each of these answers in, and then go to your table. So what you want to do is plug each one of these into your Y equals and go look at the table, because notice up here you have a table of values, and you go look at these values for X and see if they give you these values for Y, because the cost C is going to be your Y. Okay, number of words W is going to be like your X. Okay, so go to your table. If you don't know how to find the table on the calculator, make sure you ask me or ask another student. Alright, so when you plug those in, what you're going to get is this answer. 0.4W, no, hold on. I'm looking at the wrong one. 0.08W plus 4.4. Answer A will give you that table. Okay. Okay, on number 2, same thing. Down here, C is going to be your Y. Okay, those are going to be your Y. And W is going to be your X. Plug those in at Y equals and compare the table to this table. You should get answer D. Okay, your x-axis is your horizontal axis here. Okay, where on the x-axis is x equal to 5? Positive 5. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so right here, x equals 5. Now, I could also go up here, and x would still equal 5, wouldn't it? Or down here, x would still equal 5. Okay, so what you've got is a line. It's going to be a vertical line like this, where x is always equal to 5. In other words, if I picked any point on that line, I'm going to pick these 2 points right here. And I put in the coordinates for those 2 points. That would be 5, 2. This would be 5, -3. Okay, no matter what point that I pick on that line, look what's going to be true. X equals 5. And look at it. X equals 5. X equals 5. Okay, so that's what that means. So here's the line, x equals 5. We need to find a line that's parallel to this that goes through point -2, 0. Well, it's pretty easy to find a line that's parallel to this, because this is a vertical line. A line that's parallel to it is also going to be a vertical line. So this is going to be the answer. Okay. This part you didn't even need, but you can see that this line does pass through point -2, 0 right here. Okay. No, all of the lines actually pass through -2, 0, if you notice. Okay, there. But this one is parallel to the line x equals 5. Okay? But while we're talking about this, if you had a line that was y equals 3, okay, where would that line be? Well, it's exactly what it says. And this one you can actually plug into your calculator. You just go to y equals and you put in 3 and you graph it. But in this case, instead of a vertical line, you're going to get a horizontal line. Because when y equals 3, go up to 3 right here. Y equals 3 right there. It also equals 3 right here and right here, doesn't it? So the line y equals 3 is a horizontal line. Okay? And it would be parallel to this one. Okay? So those are two special types of lines. When you have one that says x equals some number, like 5, or when you have one that says y equals some number, like 3. This one's going to be vertical, this one's going to be horizontal. Okay, which graph best represents the line passing through point 0, 4? Okay, point 0, 4. Notice all of them actually pass through that point, and is perpendicular to y equals 3x. Okay, remember, here's our slope-intercept form of a linear equation. Our m, in this case, is 3, okay? So our slope is 3. Remember, you can write the whole number 3 over 1, okay? That puts it in rise over run form so that you know that this line is going to rise 3 and it's going to run 1, okay? Just while we're on this one, what would the b be in this equation? Y equals 3x plus b. Well, there's nothing out here for b, so you could put 3x plus 0. Okay? So the b would be 0 in this case. Remember, the b, we talked about it before in one of the earlier objectives. The m is the slope, the b is the y-intercept. So this line, y equals 3x, would have a y-intercept of 0 and a slope of 3, or 3 over 1. Okay. Now, back to our problem. This line that we're looking for is perpendicular to y equals 3x. Well, y equals 3x has a slope of 3 over 1, so our perpendicular line is going to have a slope of, remember on perpendicular, it's the opposite sign. So since this is positive, this one's going to be negative, and we have to take the reciprocal of this. The reciprocal of 3 over 1, just flip the 3 and the 1 and make it 1/3. So our slope that's perpendicular to this line is going to have a slope of negative 1/3. And I believe this is the one. This one goes down 1 over 3. So that's a slope of negative 1/3. Just take that number, divide it by 4, and we'll get the length of one side. About 6 feet. Okay. 3. Got a circle with a diameter of 26. She used all the fencing from the circular garden. Okay, once again, we're using the outside, so we need to find the length of the circumference to enclose a square dog run, and we're going to make a square. So it's just like number 2. Diameter is 26. Circumference equals pi times diameter. So pi times 26 is about 80, close to 82. I'm going to round it up to 82. And we're going to take that edging that's 82 feet long, divide it by 4 sides, 4 equal sides in a square, and we get about 20 for each side. Length of each side is about 20. Okay, number 4. We have a circle with a radius of 3 units. And radius is 3. And we're going to take it and change the shape to a square that has approximately the same perimeter. Okay, so same perimeter as the circumference of the circle. It's the same thing we were doing up here. The sides of the square will be, okay, so let's find the circumference. And the radius is 3. Circumference is 2 pi times radius. Notice I'm using the formula that has radius in it. Up here, I use the formula for circumference that has diameter in it, because we were dealing with diameter in this problem. Here, we're dealing with radius. Okay? 2 pi radius, so that circumference is going to be 2 times pi times 3, and that's about 19. Rounded up to 19. And they want to know the sides of the square, so we need to divide that by 4. And we get about 4.7. Okay. Okay, one thing that I want to go over with you before we start this is the idea that a triangle, when you take a triangle, and this is true of any triangle, the 3 angles, when you add them up, equals 180 degrees. Okay? And you really need to understand that. I mean, that's something you just need to memorize. A triangle, the sum of the angles equals 180 degrees. And we're going to use that idea in this lesson quite a bit, so make sure you understand that. Now, if I take a rectangle, now you know a rectangle has 4 90-degree angles in it, so you could just add those up and find that it equals 360 degrees. Okay. But if it wasn't a rectangle, and it was just some 4-sided figure like this, quadrilateral, that's not very good, but yeah. Okay, it's not a rectangle anymore, but it is a 4-sided figure. One thing you could do is divide it up into 2 triangles like that. And since we know a triangle is 180 degrees, then 2 of them have to be 180 times 2, which is 360.